With the global trade sector witnessing tectonic shifts. Mr. Goyal, are you able to get good sleep?
Actually, I'm sleeping.
Because many in this room definitely are unable to.
Really?
With 2 days left,
Gone are the days when you could say the meek will inherit the earth. I sleep very well. In fact, off late, I think I sleep better than I used to earlier.
So, can those present in the room also?
Absolutely. India has so much resilience. India has so much strength. India is full of possibilities. The world's fastest growing economy. We have strong economic fundamentals. I think the media seems to be more concerned than even the business people of India.
So if I could just begin, what should we expect after 2 days, 3 days to be precise?
As a chartered accountant, I normally audit and report on matters that have already happened. And for the future, we make intelligent future projections. At the present juncture, I think you'll need to ask that to an astrologer.
Well, nice one there, but I will still come to you on this. In your projections, are you figuring out some kind of a deal going forward? And is that a possibility which industry leaders also should keep in mind or keep in their calculations?
Well, amongst the many works at hand, that is one issue which we are also addressing with a very open mind, a positive outlook, and the confidence that the India-US relationship is very consequential, very important for both countries. I've been engaged with industry in India. I've been engaged with companies from the US working in India. Everybody believes that this is an important engagement, relationship. At the same time, and I just had a very, very large conglomerate owner, business person from Mumbai in my office a few hours ago. Knowing the press, they'll now start finding out sources who can tell me who it was, or tell them who it was, who started by telling me that while I will tell you that I am an exporter to the United States and I'm concerned about the current situation, I would like to first start by telling you that we stand fully with the government of India. We are committed to the nation. We have alternatives. We are working on several alternatives and super confident that this year will be better than last year.
Super. You mentioned alternatives. While industry is definitely looking at alternatives, we've seen some shifts in India's own policy or India's own relationship. And I'd like to mention our northern neighbor.
Well, I think that shift has nothing to do with this current situation. The problem started post-Galwan. After the agreement was reached on the important border issues, we had already started re-engaging. And I think that was completely unlinked to any matters related to the current trade agreement with the United States. So I would not like to hyphenate or link the two.
We've done a bit of relaxation in visas, and there have been a lot of positive statements coming from the other side as well. Your ministry is in charge of the Press Note 3, which controls investments. Are you also reviewing that?
Deepshika is looking for a headline here.
Absolutely.
Well, I think if you recall, the Press Note 3 came in at a point of time when we had just started seeing a tremendous fall of values post the COVID crisis. Early 2020, when the global pandemic hit the world, we saw a massive dip in valuations of companies, both in the stock market and otherwise. At that point of time, in order to make sure that we do not lose out strategic values owned by Indians to foreign takeovers, particularly from countries which at that point of time were out there buying out stakes in other parts of the world, we decided on coming out with the Press Note 3. It was a decision which was important at that point of time and also related to our strategic interest in certain sectors which we wanted to remain in Indian hands. And it does not ban FDI from anywhere. We only take a cautious approach, and there's a pre-approval. Post that, we have given approval to many companies. Many in the room may have received an approval, many may not have received an approval. It's a process that is going on. Wherever we find that the industry in question, the technology in question, the supply chain in question aligns with the vision of India, we have been regularly giving approvals, and the same process will continue in the future.
So it will continue.
Well, I can only speak about the situation today. As I said, when the times change, situations change, decisions can be made to suit the times.
Well, decisions can change according to if times change. If I could just take you away from what's happening in the neighborhood, you are in talks with multiple countries, trade blocs. One can forget the count in terms of the number of trade deals that you are negotiating. What's happening with the European Union at this juncture? You've set the target as December, but where are we now?
I have not set that target. Our leaders set that target before the year end. We've made very rapid progress. I've had an occasion to meet my counterpart from the EU, Maros Shevčovič, on several occasions in the last few months, both in New Delhi, in Mumbai, Brussels, Paris. That's it, yeah. And I can only tell you he's a great guy. We get along very well with each other. Other than taking a liking to each other, we started understanding each other. And I've always held a very clear vision when we do trade deals. I have to protect national interests. I have to protect sensitive sectors. And we usually now work with different countries with the pre-understanding before even getting into negotiations. You respect my sensitivities, I respect your sensitivities. There are areas of concern in every country in the world. So the European Union also has certain areas which are very sensitive to them. We respect that, as they respect ours. And therefore, I think it will not be difficult to come to terms on the trade front. There are certain non-tariff barrier issues on both sides, which are majorly under consideration and discussion. But having struck a deal with Australia, with the United Kingdom, the largest trade deal so far, most comprehensive trade deal, nearly 30 chapters. We've never had such a deal before. With the 4-block EFTA nations. And mind you, UK and Switzerland were always the most aggressively against our IPR policies, intellectual property laws. And in both these trade deals, we have a robust IPR chapter. So that is the extent of evolution India is seeing in matters related to trade and free trade agreements. We are talking to EU on a very regular basis. Ministers are going to be coming to India. Our teams are going to be traveling to Brussels. After Marosh's visit, maybe I may go there again. So we are working very actively, and I would think it's very much doable. Similarly, New Zealand will be over in the next couple of months. Oman should be over by next month. Chile and Peru are putting a lot of bandwidth into the agreement. In fact, we don't have enough bandwidth to be able to handle so many engagements at the same time. There are at least 3 or 4 more whom I have agreed to fast track, but I still need to devote resources to that. We are working with Eurasia on a Central Asia and other countries deal. So there's a lot on the plate. And India is looking at the entire situation very strategically, realistically, and is not reacting to the situation, but is actually proactively working with trading partners with whom we can expand business, with whom we can have transparent economic systems or trading systems, where we see complementarity rather than competition. And I'm quite sure you'll see our India growth story having a large global footprint in the years to come.
There is, while you're talking about, newer free trade deals, there's a review which has been going on with the ASEAN agreement, which was a mammoth free trade agreement. What is the status?
Haven't I given enough headlines on that deal? We are certainly very concerned because domestic industry gives us quite a negative feedback about the ASEAN trade deal done during the Congress regime. I have to often very categorically tell industry when they come and attack me on ASEAN, look, I have nothing to do with this. This is a badly negotiated deal by the previous government. I have talked to industry who was there while these negotiations were going on. The level of stakeholder consultation was abysmal. It was terrible. And very, very asymmetrical opening has been done, where India is at the receiving end and did not benefit much. So we are focused in all the trade deals that we do or choose not to do. Like we chose not to do RCEP. RCEP would have been the death knell of Indian industry. I have never received more thank you notes from Indian industry, from MSMEs, from farmer organizations, as I received when we decided not to join RCEP. It was the Congress party's understanding with China or some, I don't know what the secret deal was. What the hell was that MOU that they had signed with the Communist Party of China? I don't know what was the compulsion of that government to get into negotiations in RCEP. We were not a part of RCEP originally. The Congress threw ourselves under the bus. We already had a trade deal with ASEAN, a bad deal at that. We already had a trade deal with Japan and Korea. Australia was on the verge of being finalized, which then they aborted because of RCEP. That time, New Zealand business bilaterally was $350 million. Quite small. So really, it was an FTA between China and India. And I dare say, I did nearly 200 consultation meetings about the RCEP agreement with industry. Barely, I think 2 or 3 sessions or industry interactions, people said they wanted us to join RCEP. That was the overwhelming opposition. So whether you don't join is equally important as joining is. So we are very clear in our mind what's good for the people of India, what's good for the industry, for all the stakeholders sitting in this room and beyond. That drives us into doing trade deals. Geopolitical considerations or wanting to look good will never drive India's trade decisions. Trade will stand on its own legs. Geopolitics stands on its own legs. We don't hyphenate or conflate the two. Our effort is we build very good relations across the world. We are multilateral in every dimension. But when it comes to opening India's market and expanding India's trade, our stakeholders, their views, and their best interests are paramount.
You just presented the Jan Vishwas version 2 in Parliament. Prime Minister has spoken about next generation reforms. In terms of investment, in terms of the export sector, what reforms could these be?
Tons and tons. In fact, I would urge Economic Times, I would urge all the world leaders in attendance today. We are looking for ideas big and small. Every conceivable experience that any of you has had. And I would urge Economic Times to run a campaign on this and crowdsource for us the various possibilities to decriminalize laws wherever they are, there's no mens rea or there's no intention to defraud or criminal intent. We would like to decriminalize as many laws as we can. We want to reduce regulatory burden on industry. We want to simplify processes, procedures, any and everything that can reduce the burden, compliance burden on industry, on business, to make it easier to do business. Whatever we can do to support people, the common man's lives becoming easier, which we call ease of living. We are wanting to explore every possible element which can impact your lives, your businesses. Please come forth, be demanding. Maybe we won't deliver or be able to deliver 100%, but we'll make a sincere effort. We'll argue why not rather than why when you come up with any ideas. So much so that between yesterday evening and today afternoon,
I was going to just ask you, you've had series of meetings, industry
it's a
zones,
continuous
industrial
process.
corridors. So what's on cards there?
On
industrial corridors, industrial zones, you've had series of
all
meetings
of these
between
will evolve.
yesterday and today. So.
All of these will evolve and we'll be announcing them. But for example, the Jan Vishwas bill, one and now the two which I've come out with. In both of these, the retrospective application is not there. I had sought legal advice, and at that point of time, I was told that you cannot do it retrospective. Since last night, I just received an SMS, just an SMS, urging me to consider making it retrospective. I wrote back saying that legal advice had said that we can't do it. The person concerned immediately shot off 2 Supreme Court judgments to me. Then I talked to the Law Commission today afternoon. They also confirm you can make it retrospective. I've already talked to the Law Minister today. The secretary got changed in the course of the day in the afternoon. So the new secretary I'll probably talk to. And the idea is that we'll expand Jan Vishwas 2 in the next few days, basis whatever inputs all of you give us. We have decriminalized 355 sections in Jan Vishwas Bill 2. I want to take it up to 1,355.
Oh, wow.
Can you all be forthcoming?
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please. This is being done for you.
So the select committee is going to be seeking suggestions. Either give it there or give it to me. I will give it to the select committee. If required, I'll introduce a completely new bill. We are open. We want all of you to engage and tell us what we can do so that you can focus on your business, be more efficient, be more effective, be cost competitive, produce good quality goods and services, and capture world markets.
Is there a package or some kind of interventions, policy interventions, measures expected for the export sector? Because especially, the labor-intensive sectors like textiles, gems and jewelry, they would bear the brunt of what's happening on the tariff front.
We are working on different dimensions. For example, the domestic industry. The same gentleman about whom I referred earlier today morning was saying that they are already started looking at how they can expand their domestic footprint. I remember when I could realize that this could become a stress, I immediately called up a very large 1,000-store retail outlet which does apparel largely, and talked to the managing director and said that, guys, can you look at picking up, these are high quality goods that these people make in the textile sector. Can you pick up some more? Can you run massive campaigns and help us market stocks and market products so that domestically we can absorb a lot of the goods on the textile sector? We are looking at GST revamp, about which you have been reading. We'll see how we can support many of these labor-intensive sectors like food processing, textile, through the GST framework to give a boost to domestic demand. Our ministry and different line ministries are already looking at complementarity of our strength areas with other economies so that we can look at expanding trade with other countries, maybe buy some more from them what we need, sell some more what they need. So there are different ways in which we can ameliorate this current situation until we are able to come to a settlement.
Until we are able to come to a settlement. On that note, on that positive note, Mr. Goyal, let me thank you for taking out time for ET World Leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who means business.
Thank you very
Piyush
much.
Goyal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister Goyal, for that candid and wide-ranging conversation from supply-side shift to strategic foresight. Your insights did offer us a sharp window into how India is recasting its role in global commerce.
Our next guest has been many things: diplomat, author, speaker, and parliamentarian.
And sesquipedalian,
Okay, what is that?
a person who uses really long words.